Author's autobiography. All praise is due to Allah, the Rabb of all mankind, jinn and all that exists. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon our Prophet, the seal of all messengers, Muhammad, his family, companions, and all those who follow him until the day of judgment. Ameen. The following is an updated outline. Date and place of birth. I was born in the year 1942 in Hussainabad, a village at a distance of 1 mile from the north side of Mubarakpur, Azamgarh district, a town famous for cottage industry in the northern province of India. Educational background. I started my studies at home, reading the Quran from my grandfather and uncle. Then I was admitted to Madrasa Arabia Darut Talim in Mubarakpur and began my basic Islamic education in Arabic and Persian languages. In Shawwal 1337 Hijri, I received admission to the Madrasa Al Ulum in Mubarakpur for further education in Islamic studies and Arabic literature. 2 years later, in Shawwal, I joined the Madrasa Faith Alam, Monad Bhanjan, Azamgarh district for higher studies. Upon completion of 7 years of study in Islamic courses, I received a master degree from the same institute in Shaban 1380. I also received the certificate of Maulvi in 1959 and Alim in 1960 from the Government Education Board on passing their examinations with high grade. After changes in the system of the Arabic schools, I participated in the Fadil degree examination under the Government Education Board. Successfully passed double Fadil examinations in 76 and 78 with high honors. Professional life. After completing my studies at the Madrasa Faid Alam in 1961, I began teaching, preaching, lecturing, and delivering sermons. However, unfavorable circumstances did not permit me to stay in one place for long. In March 1963, I joined the Madrasa Faid Alam in Monad Bhanjan as a teacher. Then I was transferred to the Madrasa in the same city in Feb 1966. In January 1969, I was appointed as the principal at the Madrasa. After 4 years in 1972, I was requested to serve in my native institute Madrasa Arabia Darut Talim as principal. After spending 2 years, I was invited to join a professor. I was appointed in Shawwal, working in various academic departments till 1988. A research institute was established, the Center for the Services of the Prophet's Biography. I was selected to work there and was entrusted the duty of preparing an encyclopedia on the subject of the life history of the noble prophet. As a research scholar, O our Rabb, accept from us with goodly acceptance and seek it grow in a good manner. Location and nature of Arab tribes. Beyond a shadow of doubt, the biography of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, represents a complete picture of the magnificent divine message that he communicated in order to deliver the human race from the swamp of darkness and polytheism to the paradise of light and monotheism. An authentic and comprehensive image of this message is therefore only attainable through careful study and profound analysis of both the background and issues of such a biography. In view of this, a whole chapter is introduced here about the nature and development of Arab tribes prior to Islam, as well as the circumstances and environment that surrounded the Prophet's mission. Location of the Arabs. Linguistically, the word Arab means deserts and barren land without water and vegetation. Ever since the dawn of history, This term has been used for the Arabian Peninsula and its people. The Arabian Peninsula is enclosed in the west by the Red Sea and Sinai, in the east by the Arabian Gulf, in the south by the Arabian Sea, which is an extension of the Indian Ocean, and in the north by Sham, ancient Syria, and parts of Iraq. The area is estimated between 1 million and 1,300,000 square miles. Thanks to its geographical position, the peninsula has always had great strategic importance. Considering its internal features, it comprises mostly deserts and arid areas, which made it inaccessible to foreigners and invaders and allowed its people complete liberty and independence through the ages. Despite the presence of two neighboring great empires, its external setting, on the other hand, caused it to be the center of the ancient world and provided it with sea and land links with most nations at the time. Thanks to this strategic position, the Arabian Peninsula became a center for trade, culture, religion, and art. Arab tribes. Arab peoples have been divided according to lineage into three groups. Number one, perished Arabs, the ancient Arabs of whose history little is known, and of whom were Ad, Thamud, Thasm, Jadis, Imlek, and others. 2. Pure Arabs. They originated from the progeny of Yarub bin Yashjub bin Qatan and were also called Qatanian Arabs. 3. Arabized Arabs. They originated from the progeny of Ismail and were also called Adnanian Arabs. The pure Arabs, the people of Qatan, originally lived in Yemen and comprised many tribes, two of which were very famous. Himyar, the most famous of whose ancestors were Zat al Jamhur, Kuda, and Sakasik. Kalan, the most famous of whose ancestors were Hamdan, Anmartai, Budhij, the kings of ancient Syria. The Kalan tribes immigrated from Yemen to dwell in different parts of the Arabian Peninsula prior to the Great Flood. They migrated due to the failure of trade under the Roman pressure and control of both sea and land trade routes following the Roman occupation of Egypt and Syria. Naturally enough, the competition between Kalan and Himyar led to the evacuation of the former and the settlement of the latter in Yemen. The immigrating tribes of Kalan can be divided into four groups. Al Azd. They wandered in Yemen, sent pioneers under the leadership of Imran bin Amr Muzaikia, and finally headed to the north and the east. Details of their immigration can be summed up as follows. The Lab bin Amr left his tribe Al-Asd for Hijaz and dwelt between the Labia and Dhikar when he gained power. He headed for Medina and stayed there. Of his descendants are Oz and Khajras, sons of Haritha bin Thalaba. Haritha bin Amr, known as Khuzaya, wandered with his offspring in Hijaz until they came. Later, they conquered the Haram, settled in Makkah after having driven away its people, the tribe of Jurhum. Imran and his family went to Oman, where they established the tribe of Azd, whose offspring inhabited Tehama and were known as Azd of Shanua. Jafna bin Amr and his family headed for Syria, where he settled and initiated the kingdom of Ghassan, who was so named after a spring of water in Hijaz, where they stopped on their way to Syria. 2. Lakham and Judam From them was Nasr bin Rabia, founder of the Manadhira kings of Hira. Banu Tai. They also immigrated northwards to settle by the so-called Aja and Salma mountains, which were thereafter named the Tai Mountains. Kinda. They dwelt in Bahrain, but were expelled to Hadramaut and Nashr, where they had no power base, just as they had none in Bahrain, and so they settled in Nashr. There they established an important rulership, although it did not last long, for the whole tribe soon faded away. Another tribe of Himyar, known as Qudaya, also left Yemen and dwelt in the Samawa desert on the borders of Iraq. The Arabized Arabs go back in ancestry to their great grandfather Ibrahim from a town called Ur, near Kufa, on the west bank of the Euphrates in Iraq. Excavations have brought to light many details of the town, Ibrahim's family, and the religions and social circumstances prevalent at the time. It is known that Ibrahim left Ur for Haran and then for Palestine, which is made the headquarters for his message, and traveled all over the area. When he went to Egypt, the Pharaoh tried to do evil to his wife Sarah, but Allah saved her, and the Pharaoh's wicked scheme recoiled on him. He thus came to realize her strong attachment to Allah, and in acknowledgement of her grace, the Pharaoh rendered his daughter Hagar at Sarah's service. Sarah gave Hagar to Ibrahim, Ibrahim alayhis salam, as a wife, and Ibrahim alayhis salam returned to Palestine, where Hagar gave birth to Ismail alayhis salam. Sarah became jealous of Hagar and forced Ibrahim, peace be upon him, to send Hagar and her baby away to an uncultivated valley in Hejaz. By the sacred house, exposed to the floods from the north and south. He chose for them a place under a lofty tree near the upper side of the masjid in Makkah, where there were neither people nor water, and went back to Palestine, leaving a leather case with some dates and a vessel of water with his wife and infant. Before long, they ran out of both food and water, but thanks to Allah's favor, water gushed forth to sustain them. The story of the Zamzam spring is well known to everybody. Another Yemeni tribe, Jurham II, came and lived in Makkah with Hagar's permission. After having lived in the valleys around Makkah for years, it is mentioned in Sahih al Bukhari that this tribe had come to Makkah before Ismail, peace be upon him, was a young man. While they passed through that valley long before this event, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, used to go to Makkah from time to time to see his wife and son. The number of these journeys is still unknown, but dependable historical references have mentioned four instances. Allah the Sublime states in the Noble Quran that He caused Ibrahim, peace be upon him, to see in a dream that he was sacrificing his son Ismail, peace be upon him, and therefore Ibrahim prepared to fulfill his order. Then, when they had both submitted themselves to the will of Allah, and he had laid him prostrate on his forehead or on the side of his forehead for slaughtering, and we called out to him, O Ibrahim, you have fulfilled the dream. Verily, thus do we reward the Mosinun. Verily, that indeed was a manifest trial, and we ransomed him with a great sacrifice. It is mentioned in the Genesis that Ismail was 13 years older than his brother Ishaq. The sequence of events in the story of the sacrifice of Ismail shows that it occurred before Ishaq's birth, and that Allah's promise to give Ibrahim another son, Ishaq, came after the narration of the whole story. This story speaks of at least one journey before Ismail became a young man. Al-Bukhari, on the authority of Ibn al-Abbas, reported the other three journeys, a summary of which goes as follows. After Ismail became a young man, having learned Arabic from the tribe of Jurham, who had great admiration and affection for him, and gave him one of their women as a wife. His mother died. Desiring to see his wife and son again, Ibrahim came to Makkah after Ismail's marriage, but he did not find him at home. He asked Ismail's wife about her husband and how they were doing. She complained of poverty, so he asked her to tell Ismail to change his doorstep. Ismail understood the message, divorced his wife, and got married again. According to the most common narration, he married the daughter of Mudad bin Amr, chief of the Jurham tribe. Once more, Ibrahim came to see his son, but did not find him at home. He asked his new wife the same question, upon which she thanked Allah. Ibrahim asked her to tell Ismail to keep his doorstep, that is, to keep her as wife, and went back to Palestine. And went back to Palestine. A third time, Ibrahim came to Makkah to find Ismail sharpening an arrow under a lofty tree near Zamzam. The meeting, after a very long journey of separation, was very touching for a father so affectionate and a son so dutiful and righteous. This time, father and son built Al Kaaba and raised its pillars. And in compliance with Allah's commandment, Ibrahim called people to perform pilgrimage to it. By the grace of Allah, Ismail had 12 sons from the daughter of Mudat, whose names were Nabat, Kidar, Idbail, Mepsham, Mishma, Duma, Micha, Hudud, Yatma, Yator, Nafis, and Kidman, and who ultimately formed 12 tribes inhabiting Makkah and trading between Yemen, Sham, and Egypt. Later on, these tribes spread all over and even outside the peninsula, after which their offspring became untraceable except for the descendants of Nabat and Kidar. The Nabateans, son of Nabat, established a flourishing civilization in the north of Hijaz. They instituted a powerful government that spread its domain over all the neighboring tribes and made Petra their capital. Nobody dared challenge their authority until the Romans managed to vanquish their kingdom later. A group of research scholars inclined to the view that the Ghazanid kings, along with the Aus and Khazraj, were not Katatians but rather descendants of Nabat, the son of Ismail, who remained in the region. Imam al Bukhari also inclined to this view. And Al Hafiz ibn Hajar preferred the view that Qatan was among the descendants of Nabat. Descendants of Kidar, the son of Ismail, multiplied in numbers and lived in Makkah for a long time. From them issued Adnan and his son Mat, to whom Adnanians Arabs trace their ancestry. Adnan is the 21st grandfather in the series of the prophetic ancestry. It was said that whenever Prophet Muhammad spoke of his ancestry, he would stop at Adnan and say, genealogists tell lies, and did not go further than him. A group of scholars, however, favored the probability of going beyond Adnan, considering the aforementioned hadith to be inauthentic. They went on to say that there were exactly 40 fathers between Adnan and Ibrahim. Nizar Mad's only son had four sons who branched out into four great tribes: Iyad, Anmar, Rabia, and Mudar. The last two branched into several tribes. Rabia fathered Asad, Anaza, Abdul Qais, and Wail, two sons, Hanifa, and many others. Mudar tribes branched out into two great divisions: Qais, Elan bin Mudar, and the tribes of Ilyas bin Mudar. From Qais, Elan came Banu Sulaim, Banu Hawazin, and Banu Ghatafan, of whom descended Avs, Dubyan, Ashja, and Ghani bin Asur. From Elias bin Mudar came Tamim bin Murrah, Hudail bin Mudrika, Banu Asad bin Khuzaima, and the tribe of Kinana bin Khuzaima, of whom came the Quraysh, the descendants of Fir bin Malik bin An-Nadar bin Kinana. The Quraysh branched out into various tribes, the most famous of whom were Juma, Sam, Adi, Makhzum, Tayyum, Zara, and the tribes of Qusay bin Kilab, consisting of. There were four divisions of the tribe of Abd Manaf. It is, however, from the family of Hashim that Allah selected the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Prophet Muhammad said, Allah selected Ismail from the sons of Ibrahim, Kinana from the sons of Ismail, Quraysh from the sons of Kinana, Hashim from the sons of Quraysh, and he selected me from the sons of Hashim. Allah created the creatures and made me among the best of them. He chose the tribes and selected me from the best whereof, and he chose families and made me among the best of them. Then he chose the households, making me among the best of their households. I am the best of them in person and the best of them in household. After increasing in number, the children of Adnan spread out over Arabia in pursuit of pastures and water. Abdul Qais, together with some tribes of Bakr bin Wail and Tamim, immigrated to Bahrain. Banu Hanifa went to settle in Hajar, the capital of Yamama. All the tribes of Bakr lived in an area of land that included Yamama, Bahrain, Saif, Kazima. The sea showed the outer borders of Iraq, Ablab, and Haith. Most of the tribe lived in the area around the Euphrates, while some of them lived with Bakr. Banu Tamim lived in the desert of Basra, in the vicinity of Medina, on the land stretching from Wadi al-Qura to Khaybar or onwards to Hara. Thaqif dwelt in Taif and Hawazin east of Makkah near Autas on the route from Makkah to Basra. Banu Asad lived on the land east of Taima and west of Kufa, while the family of Tai lived between Banu Asad and Taima. They were at a distance of 5 days from Kufa. Dubyan inhabited the area between Taima and Haran. Some divisions of Kinana lived in Tihama. while some of the Quraysh dwelt in Makkah and its suburbs. The Quraysh remained completely disunited until Qusay bin Kilab managed to rally their ranks on honorable terms, attaching great prominence to their status and importance. Rule and government among the Arabs.